Alrighty, here we are. Titans Grove for some kilometers on Sunday night. Didn't get out on the road today, so cramming in some more Ks here. But what I thought I'd do is have a look at this course from a technical perspective in regards to how the trainer responds to this course. This course is really unique. It undulates a lot. I think this is going to put pressure on trainers or test trainers out even more than Zwift. That's my thoughts. Reason being is because just the changes in resistance are going to push trainers to their limits, especially ones that may be a little older. So we'll see how we go with this. This is the Tacx. I'm on the Neo 1, so it should be okay. What I want to check though is, first of all, trainer response. How fast will it respond to these undulations? Firstly, coming up the reverse and then flying down the other side. And secondly, the cadence or RPM estimation that comes from the trainer. Because the cadence estimation depends on pressure on the pedals. Your pedals, or the power to the trainer, is a wave as you're pushing down, 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 down. And it's those peaks that the trainer will calculate your cadence on. I reckon that may be a problem for some trainers. Because it undulates up and down, the pressure on the pedals isn't a wave. It goes all jagged and the cadence might not be correct. But we'll see how the Neo holds up. But I'm going to get down to the other side and do the reverse. I did this way the other day on my live ride through. Well, pre-recorded, but then uploaded. William from London, how you doing? Do I think Zwift designed the Titans Grove to drive up the response rate of trainers? No. I think this course is going to cause them more headaches. Because people want to know why their trainers don't respond fast enough. Happens all the time through the S's on Mytopia, where it dips down and comes back up. Really noticeable there. If a trainer is laggy, this is going to be different again. But I will see. And every trainer is going to be a very different experience, depending on how quick it can change that resistance. Bingo, Troy, you're on the money. It's exactly what I was thinking. Troy's just said there in chat, the trainers with a stepper motor may struggle. I think they will too, especially in a big bunch. If you're flying along, it just takes them a little bit longer to move those magnets in and out. Now I don't know which was the reverse. So according to the KOM, this is the reverse, where you turn off Ocean Boulevard and then get riding. And the other way is forward. I'm a bit confused with all that. But I haven't seen any group rides scheduled on here, so I haven't done a bunch ride. We need to take the hump day ride over it, I think. It's non-stop up and down. We don't have a good gauge on the profile because when we click here on the map, up the top, I'll go full screen so people can see that. Up here, the elevation profile doesn't scale as we move in and out. So not really a good test there. Alright, we'll do a U-turn at the other end and do a ride through of the reverse. So if you haven't seen the reverse, come for a ride and we'll have a look at what it looks like. Pete M saw the drop bear. When I did my first ride through a few minutes after the course was released, the bear climbed up the tree, reached for the honey. I think it slid down, or it may have just reached and got out of view. But as always, everyone's posted up everything you see on this course now on Zwift Riders and online. Somebody's posted up a video of the bear falling down, so we might see that. I'm not going to do a U-bolt just here. I'll go desert flats and then we'll turn around. I'll show you something interesting about this course as well. And we will get talking about the technical aspects of the resistance changes in a sec. Okay, so I'm past there. Let's drop that aero power up. I don't want that on the screen. go past this. Now, if you've ridden the reverse of where I'm riding now, so desert flats all the way out to the KOMs, you'd think the forest section was a turn off. Not the case. Have a look at the sign there. When I approached that yesterday, I'm like, WTF, that's wrong, because the forest goes off to the right. But we've always been riding the intersection turn. It doesn't quite indicate us down here saying it is a turn, because technically with that sign it should be straight. This is like one of those car crash videos on YouTube. Who's at fault? Because the road goes one way and the sign says another. So yeah, the signs up on the side there indicate that this is the straight road. Signs at the bottom indicate, I don't know, they need a fork. They need a fork sign. Okay, so let's get stuck into this. It was just a bit confusing with one road that way, and the actual road goes this way. Yeah, the elevation profile needs to be a little bit more granular, especially when they're going to this level. So that's my first observation of that. You don't really know when there's another pincher, because up top you can't see that level of detail. Okay. Neo's nice and consistent through here. My heart rate's going to be through the roof. Okay, ready. Topping out. Now on the trainer. Okay, resistance kicking in. Now. See that delay? Kicking out now. That's even with the Neo. Always need more watts. Gabrielle, asking about trainers. Eurobike is early next month. So there's always new trainers at Eurobike. Okay, resistance kicks out now. See, there's probably 1 or 2 seconds in it. Ready when it kicks in. Now. But the numbers, if you look at the numbers up there, 8% to -6 really quick. So 5%. See, within a second that goes from 3% to 8 back down to -3. No trainer will be able to replicate that fast. Not over Ant Plus, which is every 1 second. Or 4 times a second, depending on how they've implemented it. But doing it blind, topping out in resistance now, kicking in, kinda nowish maybe. It's not quite a one-for-one experience. Bit of a disconnect. Now cadence-wise, so that's the loops, the overs and unders. The resistance is changing, but you don't get that momentum feel like you do out on the road. Okay, downhill now, -4. And if you're watching the, it's the top number up there, the 3%. That's the one that jumps around quite a lot. So stepper motors, I think stepper motor trainers' times are numbered, days are numbered. Okay, now we're onto the climb, kicks in now-ish, kinda. It's a hard one to get right. There hasn't been a firmware update for the Neo for a while. Not for the Neo 1. Neo 2 is also an interesting one. They released 0.18 for the Neo 2. 0.19 was around for a while. I don't think that ever went public. Oh, T-Rex up. But you're right, that no real updates. Power-wise, I think they're okay. They work well. Cadences was a few wonkiness things with the Neo 2 early on. But in August, I guess we're in August now. Would you buy a new trainer in August? Only if it's a really, really good bargain, because we don't know what's coming out next month. Okay, cadence readings from the Neo look pretty good. So what I was worried about is when the resistance lets off and there's no power profile doing this, it's not going to be able to compute the cadence. Thank you, R. Kun, sending me personal messages in public. Just be careful of that. I can't switch those off when I'm streaming. I want to see them, but they do get broadcast out. So the Neo seems to hold cadence pretty well, but we will see when we get over the top and we'll fly down the other side and start hitting those over and unders a lot faster. Bike Mike, my Neo feels like the road feel is always turned on. At a really slow speed, the Neo will, I'm talking turn by your hand speed, the Neo will sort of dit around, but once you're pedaling it shouldn't do that. No grinding noise though. If you purchase locally, I'd get them to have a look at it. If you know someone else with the Neo, jump on theirs. Again, just isolate the variables there. Doesn't sound normal though. So right now, 70 RPM, 250 watts, buttery smooth. I'm in the 36, 16, 17. Really smooth over the pedal stroke. And I'm working up a sweat. Oh, here's a new thing I'm doing. So if you saw my Instagram the other day, I have the Elite, these matchy colours with my kit and my bike. Thermal bottles. The Movistar we're using at the tour. So the Elite flies with thermal. I've been sticking these in the fridge before my trainer sessions, and they stay nice and cool. I've always thought about just using thermal bottles outside when it's hot, but indoors, it kind of makes sense to use them as well. That is super cold. Trek are bringing back threaded bottom brackets. I saw one the other day. I guess it depends on what other manufacturers want to do. I support threaded bottom brackets, less creaking, but it depends what the industry wants to do. I haven't done too much. Good job, Lloyd. I'm not racing though. We give Lloyd a bite on. Haven't had too many issues with creaking bottom brackets that I haven't been able to solve, but it would be nice. I don't swap bottom brackets out on this Giant. The older Giant I do, but this one I don't want to keep putting bottom brackets in and out and in and out. Just compromising a little bit. Threaded would fix that a little bit, I think. But look, any new standard that comes out, you really have to question exactly why or what it means. Remembering, they're not the saviors bringing out any new tech, because all of them came out with press fit in the first place. So there's mistake number one. As long as the cranksets are still compatible, I'd hope. Are we there yet? Bit of a nondescript KOM, this one. So this side's an average of 2.2%. The other side is listed as an average of 6.6%. I don't think it ever hits 6.6% on the other side. I will do a U-bolt at the other end and we'll come back. But what I'm up to now is checking the response time of this trainer as we fly over top. As I did on the way up there, it was a little laggy, Cycling Mitchell, what is a good power meter for a nice price? I can tell you what is not a good power meter. Nice price depends on your budget, depends where you are, the import taxes. Choose the type of power meter you want to go with. Crank, pedal, spider, or number generator, and then watch a few reviews from there and see what you like. And obviously overlay that with your budget. Okay, down this side. Let's see how this feels with the response of these over and unders. That must be down the other side of the hill there, where the over and unders really start. Requests for reviews. I can review anything that I get a hold of. It's getting a hold of that is the challenge. So specialized left side. Which one is that? That's not the FSA power boxing thing, is it? That's something different. Any plans for the drops? Yeah, that old clunker of a bike. Okay, kicks in, kicks out. In. Nah. Doesn't have that feeling when you roll over the top of a hill. If you're going fast into a hill, it simulates momentum, but does it kind of feel the same? Oh, there goes the bear. Ready, so it should kick out now. It's kicking out now. There's every chance of reviewing the IQ squared power meter when it exists. At the moment it doesn't exist. Okay, now we should click some speed. Few seconds. Okay, it should drop out, kick in, kicks in. Now, out, now. I think it's pretty consistent, that delay. Going to be a roller coaster in a bunch. So you're still really thumping over the pedal when you're at negative gradient. Doesn't make sense. I'm going hard on this because it's been 4 years now since we've had gradient changes on trainers on Zwift. It's got to be quicker. Has to be quicker. And if we don't keep pushing the progress, where do we go? Where do we go? Always better. See, 6% I didn't lose any cadence at all. You're just counting those numbers. Now, if a trainer can change once per second, -1 to -6, 7, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, -1, -3, that's a lot of work. So, if you're lost in the moment and you're really like just riding whatever it gives you, that's fine. But once you really look at what's going on, we're not quite there yet. How to solve that? That's a tough one. Every trainer responds differently, and every trainer will respond differently depending on either ANT Plus or Bluetooth, quality of your ANT Plus signal, and also maybe the firmware revision you're running. There's no easy way, unless you hardwire the things in, but as we saw with the Kinetic R1, they put a USB port on the trainer. It's not supported by anything. Future-proofing, maybe. Maybe. Alrighty. Okay, we'll go back the other way, a little easier. That was sort of a bit of hammer time on that descent there. Just to see what it feels like. Look, it wasn't bad though, don't get me wrong on that. I just want shit to be better. Always better. So how to solve that in software? Preempting the gradient changes could be done. It's a lot of work. We could say, okay, gradient change, this is coming up. You're going at this speed. You're not likely to pull a U-turn. So maybe we start preempting the gradient change. If you look at how Trainer Road does their erg mode, erg will kick in a little quicker. All right, we're going back. Sorry, other dude who was riding with me. I don't want a U-bolt. You could preempt that, but that is a lot of work. Is it worth it? Will this be solved with new trainers? Do you then have to have a library of those, if this trainer and that? It'll be an overhead. I think it's important to have though, because it's about the user experience, and you want whatever software you're running. This is not just Zwift related, this is anything. Ruby, Sufferfest, Trainer, like the whole works, all of it. It's about having the best user experience with the hardware that you've got. That's why I love firmware updates. I've got 3 or 4 videos lined up that are just firmware updates. I'm trying to space them out so I don't tire everyone out with me talking about firmware updates. But products are only ever potentially one firmware update away from being awesome. And by awesome, I mean a good user experience. So we'll do this one throw it in a small ring so I can talk. I'll get to the questions in a moment, but I do appreciate the questions. My work is done for the day. I've just done that ride, got my head around how things change, and I know that the cadence estimation works well on the Neo, so that's cool. I'm happy now. It's just about ticking up some Ks, and yeah, I'll get involved in the chat. So throw up your questions, anything about the videos I've done in the last week. They're always fresh in my mind. Videos that I've done in the last 3 years, they're all still there. If you haven't listened to this week's podcast, definitely download the Fit File podcast that Ray and I do every week. What else? This week should be good. We've got a lot of topics to talk about. Hey, there's the rubber duck. Let's go have a look at the rubber duck. Oh, did I miss it? Oh, it's behind me now. Bugger. There is a rubber duck in the geyser. Okay, slow speed stuff. So we're not hitting these gradient changes, but they do change super quick. I'd like that elevation profile to be more granular so we can see them coming up. 30% of Shane's work is updating firmware. Probably more. Probably more. See, that's cool. That let go. Ready and going slow. Kicks in. It still took like 5 or 6 updates of that number up there for it to feel the kick in though. Alright, enough about whinging at the resistance change speed. That answers a few questions though. Okay, cadence estimation. That's doing really well. When the resistance lets off, it still knows ballpark what cadence I'm doing. If you have a power meter or an accelerometer cadence sensor on your cranks, use that. It'll always be more accurate. Could Zwift consider trainer type when transmitting gradient change commands? Absolutely. Absolutely they could. Then no model type and manufacturer ID, that's all in the Ant stuff. Could they do it over, I'm sure they could do it over Bluetooth as well. The manufacturer IDs there. M rides bikes, how are we doing, M? Okay, climb, ready for it to let out. That's better. That kicked off easy, but I'm only doing, what, 20k, 30 k's an hour. Is Zwift ever going to add a headwind, tailwind option? I hope so. I hope so. So, at the moment though, wind wouldn't do much because there's no steering. So it would just be an obstacle. It'd be what I'd call a two-dimensional obstacle. It would be on or off. So you couldn't do much with it. If it's a breakaway, it really won't. Everyone has to work hard on the front, kinda. But where wind will make a big difference is if they ever do steering. So if you have a headwind, you can steer in, or crosswind, you can start doing echelons. Now that would be a game changer. I've spoken about this a few times before. But if they were to do crosswinds, you have the ability to steer yourself onto the front and then pull off into the wind, get pushed back, the other riders roll through, you'll start doing turns, breakaways will start working. At the moment, breakaways don't really work in Zwift because the blob has the rolling turn effects. It's a big debate. But I think wind and steering all at once would be cool. And it would change things up. It would sort of nullify, not sort of, it would nullify all the crappy KOMs. Because one day it's going to be a headwind. One day it's going to be a tailwind. Tailwind in a bunch. Everyone takes the Strava comms, we're done. You don't have to worry about them anymore. Back to PBs. It was a southwesterly wind. They actually set a northerly point in Watopia. It can get harder when you're facing the southwest. Yeah, but it will be the same for everyone. They could do it, but I guess if there was a wind direction, there always would be a side or a head or a tail or a side because the roads wind around. What would be silly is a massive crosswind and everyone using the same air resistance algorithms as if the headwind was coming along, because you can't steer. Big limiter, big limiter. But God help whoever's got to be responsible for the math behind that. That'd be nasty. With one rider it'd be hard enough. Do it with X number of riders in Y number of positions at Z speed. Yeah. Okay, rolling along just cruising. This makes sense. There's a big chunk of gradient changes that are happening. If only Zwift could design a decent kit. I'm in the HDR one. There's no such thing as a decent kit. Not even Rafa. Come at me, Rafa, people. Sorry, decent kit that people can afford. But if you can get bottles that match your kit, that's worth something. Has to be. What happens if I stop pedaling? Okay, good question. If I stop pedaling, Zwift will apply a very slight amount of braking. So I coast, and here I'm going to come to a stop because it's a slight gradient of 6%, and I come to a stop. There, that's what happens when I stop pedaling. On the flat road, you'll stop faster than normal. Actually, I think on any road you'll probably stop faster than normal, unless it's a decent downhill, because Zwift applies a brake when you stop pedaling. It helps with bunch positioning a little bit, but the other effect of that is if you're ever like bending down to clip up your shoe, You start pedaling again, you're backwards by 10 to 20 positions in a bunch. It's nasty. Whereas outside, if you're in a bunch, you pick a certain section on the road, a bit of a downhill, you can coast. Whereas at most rides are 20% coasting. If not more if you're in a bunch on a hilly ride. You can freewheel to a degree, but be prepared to lose a number of positions. Am I on this climb again? The Neo 2 have an automatic drive wheel. So if you're on a gradient that goes down, negative gradient, it'll keep turning the flywheel over. That does nothing, zero. Absolutely zero to your in-game speed. Because that's all based on watts per kilo. Primarily based on watts per kilo. You'll notice you don't pair a speed sensor in Zwift anywhere when you've got a Tacx Neo. If anything, it's maybe slightly detrimental. Because if something is turning over and you have to put pressure on that to get your watts up, it's falling out from under your foot. I don't think it matters too much though. Steve asks, don't get me wrong, or states, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Zwift. Why don't they focus on things that people are asking for rather than dinosaurs? Good question. I think dinosaurs were easy. It was more about this terrain. I think there's a lot of work gone into it art-wise, but gameplay-wise, I suspect there's multiple teams working on other things that may come out in the future, because we've seen new roads. New roads aren't a technical hurdle for them to implement. Dinosaurs, well, we've already seen dinosaurs. They had one at the servo. So that's not new. I think there's probably more going on behind the scenes in regards to innovation. Again, Eurobike is in 4 weeks. Let's see what comes up there. Hardware-wise and software. Tobias asks, do I ever think the Ghost Rider will be a thing where you compete against your personal best on climbs? Yeah, I'd hope so. I'd hope so. That should be an easy one to implement. They have the data. They have our PBs. So average of 6.6 over there. And we're sitting on 5. I don't think it ever goes above 6. I think 6.6 is wrong. Now I did title this live stream Titans Grove Course, so I can't really go home the easy way, can I? I've got to turn around at the other end again. Bugger. Mick Bush, I'm buying a kick at 18, should I wait for a 19 model? Until we know there's a 19 model, we don't know. 11% slower. Look, I wouldn't buy recommended retail right now in August. Not near Eurobike. But I also wouldn't hold out and lose 4 weeks of good training if you're going to be using it quite a lot. There should be deals on. Usually a good indication of if someone's got something new coming out. But as soon as they do, you'll know about it right here. Hit subscribe and you'll find out about it. Because as soon as things are released, I'm all over it. It's going to change our user experience for the better. Or if you need to steer clear of something, you'll know about it. Angela from New Zealand, how you doing? Oh, and if you hit subscribe as well, the little llama will dance on screen down here. If that plugin still works. I'm glad this string plugin still works. It's all working well. Uncrowded. Yeah, okay, good call. Patrick states here that the course looks surprisingly uncrowded. Is it just that time of day? Or is Zwift Worldwide, does it have a quiet time of year? Yes, all the above. So at the moment you can see down just there, 785 others are on Zwift at the moment. Watopia isn't the default course, so you've got to physically click Watopia to get over to this course. And there's no scheduled rides on here. So you've got to click Watopia, you have to click one of the routes that takes you on this. Then you've got to go ride the thing. I would have liked to see, with any release of a new course, if the new course was out, there should be scheduled rides every hour. New course ride, especially in the low time of the year, which is now up in the Northern Hemisphere. Give people an incentive to jump on. They don't have to go and find how to get to the course. They could do a bunch ride and check out the dinos. Speaking of dinos, there's it, yeah. Watching with the kids to show them the dinosaurs. Okay, here, full screen. Hang on. Quick, dinosaurs. Ready? Behind me. There's a big one. It'd be cool if they came down and chomped you just near the bike or something. Maybe the dinos should be in different jerseys. There's more coming. There's one. The flywheel's still ticking over there. Rightio. Can we get a helicopter shot, go out, and then land on a dinosaur's head or something? We must be close. Oh, there he is. See what else we can find in the bushes. I'm sure there's hidden gems everywhere. Oh, there's something that's going to swoop me. It's coming at me. Hang on, look at this. Was that the T-Rex behind me? It was. Let's go hassle T-Rex. Where is he? It reminds me of Turok. Did we used to play the game Turok with dinosaurs? Where did he go? Oh, I'm just horrible at navigation. Oh, he actually ran away? He did. Here he comes. Okay, here. Have a look. There we go. So we need erg mode dinosaur that chases you down or something. Here he comes. Wow, it's getting close now. Ah, sweet. I should have screen captured that. Okay, so that's his little... He's on a velodrome. He's going around in circles. Okay, T-Rex has a velodrome and we don't. What's with that? Alright, we're seeing T-Rex. Alrighty, back to the questions. I'm just chilling now, so feel free to throw any questions up. 28 Ks in. Ah. Oh. Never enough Ks. Never enough Ks. Okay, do I know if the latest update from Tacx fixed the power reading or freewheeling option in regard to which trainer? I need to know which trainer. There's been no updates out for any Neos recently. Oh, there's a dude standing there waiting for a dinosaur to eat them. See, the dinosaur should eat the runners at least. Come on, Zwift. Swooping kookaburras. Okay, as a kid, I remember having a barbecue once, and I held up, this was outside, obviously here in Australia, and I held up my sausage because I needed some bread or some sauce, and I said, could I have some sauce? And a kookaburra came down, took it off the fork, and took off. That's my kookaburra story. They're pretty quiet, kookaburras. Well, they're loud when they laugh, but they're not really that friendly. Magpies can be friendly. Emus are the spawn of Satan. Held up my sausage. Don't quote me on that, M. Okay, coming up is a dinosaur with a wig on. You see right there, we spotted that the other day. Beautiful looking wig there on that dinosaur that doesn't move. Emus are horrible. Alright, so I will go to the other end and spin around. How long have I been streaming for? 40 minutes. I don't want to bore everyone. Get too many downvotes for having a long video. 163 people watching, I do appreciate that. Again, get involved in the chat. Give the video a thumbs up. Give the channel a subscribe. Do whatever. I appreciate it. It all helps tick things along. It keeps things going. Patrick asked about the Tacx bike. Who knows? Who knows? As soon as one's ready, I will have one. But I don't have one yet, so they've got to be close. They've got to be close. Again, Eurobike's coming up soon. We saw it at Eurobike 2 years ago. The very first model that we couldn't ride. Then the year after that, we saw the model that we could ride. And here we are, this year. Lee Parsons, if you change your asks, if you change his cassette from 1128 to an 1132, will he need a new chain? Possibly not. That depends. Depends on who sized your original chain. Just make sure your rear derailleur can accommodate a 32. Some will only go to a maximum of 28. So check that first. Check your compatibility. And check your chain length. But if you're getting a new cassette, throw in a new chain in the order anyway. Interesting to compare the Tacx bike and the Watt Bike Atom. Andy, they're two very, very different things. The Watt Bike Atom, which I've covered here twice actually. I had an off-site ride and a full review here. This is about a year ago, the Watt Bike Atom, and it's a stepper motor based unit. The Neo bike is the same as the Neo. So, experience-wise, it should be different. And it's 2 years down the track now for the Neo stuff, so we should be 2 years better. Angela asks, have I had any issues with the Kicker 18? Not mine personally, no, and I am totally across the problems everyone else has had or other people have had with theirs. That was really noisy online. A lot of people gave me feedback on mine that the review was either bullshit or misrepresenting or anything like that, but I didn't have the problem, so I didn't report the problem because I'm not going to bullshit in that direction. We acknowledged it, we addressed it in the podcast and on other videos, and Wahoo addressed it directly, but no problems with mine. I was kind of weirdly hoping I'd have a problem because then I could make a video for everyone showing everyone how to fix if they encounter the same problem. Didn't happen. Patrick, Atom bikes seem to be noisy for a modern trainer. Yeah, they're no longer a modern trainer. The Atom is 2 years old now, so 2 years old on the market. Probably design a year prior to that, if not more, they're no longer new. The Atom X is their new version. Commercial only though, you can't get it for consumers. The time moves on pretty quick. Bit like pro cycling where everyone's hoping Cavendish will be selected for the tour and winning races. Because we see Cavendish as boy racer. He's old. He's old. Greipel's now done. Kittle's done. Everyone moves on. Technology moves on even faster. So Robbie McEwen the other day talking about his win on the Champs-Élysées. Was it 19 years ago? I'm like, you are kidding. 19 years ago? think it was something like 17 or 19. Unbelievable. Time flies. What about being able to show your heart rate to everyone else on the leaderboard? Do you think that could happen? Yeah, I see where you're going with that, Tobias. So to be able to indicate to people how hard you're working relative to what you can do. So if someone's pushing 400 watts, their heart rate will be through the roof, but someone who's a bigger unit pushing 400 watts might not even be their threshold. So you could tell the effort that people are doing rather than just watts per kilo. Or watts per kilo kind of normalizes that, but look, no, I don't think so. I don't think they'll actually put a heart rate there. I'd suspect probably only half of people on Zwift use heart rate monitors. People who race may... See, that was cool on the terrain there. I got to coast down that and then kick in the hills. I wasn't even thinking about doing that just then, I just did it. Does it work again? It does. But I don't think putting more information on the screen is going to help. I think we need less information on the screen. Just because Zwift is now just... Sometimes it's about riding a bike, it's not even about training. I'm definitely not training here. I'm just out for a ride. And that can't be said about, I don't think, any other platform. I guess the visual ones you can. Most of those are hills. But more data on the screen. Emily's FTP is 500 watts. We know, Em, we know. What my FTP is, asks D. I don't know. I don't know. Even when I was racing hard a few years back, rarely did we do an FTP test. I tested myself based on the effort that we needed for the course we were about to race. Probably about 6 to 8 weeks out, maybe 12 if it was a big race. We'd break the course down to what we needed to do, specifically for time trials, and then we just work on upping our power for that duration. If I worked on upping my power for an hour, it didn't matter for a half-hour course or a 20-minute course. And then doing all those estimations or guessworks and all that, it didn't really matter. What could I do for 20 minutes? Let's just keep bumping that. And that seemed to work pretty well. The reason my FTP's taken off is because it simplifies a lot of things. It simplifies the zones down to a range that will work for most people. And at the end of the day, people just need structure. Consistency and structure. And you'll get better. The best way to prescribe that structure or the specific intervals is on a known good estimate. That's it, Em's got it right, just send it. Doing a 5-minute interval, just send it for 5 minutes. If you're going to do 5 by 5, just send it not quite as hard for the first one. Second one's going to hurt. The third one, you'll find a rhythm. Fourth one, you got it covered. The fifth one, you're dead. And as long as those numbers don't differ too much, it's all good. But I guess FTP is about failure as well. You need to know where that tipping point is. That's why I'd like the step test. You can never pass a step test, does that make sense? Sorry, you can never fail a step test because the failure is the pass. When you stop pedaling at that last step and you're a mess, that's a success. That's it. That's all you had. But I think there's more to FTP. Cypherfest have done some good work with the 4DP, profiling your different ranges. Prior to that, there was other people doing similar things. But it's hard to implement that. It needs to be implemented in software to talk people through it. And I think that's where the combination of cool indoor tech, accurate power meters and trainers are coming in really handy. Because you can prescribe a 1-minute effort test, 4-minute, 8-minute, 10-minute, 20-minute, and grab your profile for all those different zones, which is effectively what 4DP does in Cypherfest. Rather than just grab that one FTP number and go backwards from there. But it's good enough. It's good enough. If it wasn't good enough, people wouldn't be improving, and it would be a failure. Around the bay, no. No around the bay on the cards. I think 2003 or 4 I took around the bay. It's a long day. Okay, my thermal bottle test is working. That is still cold. Another one. Yep. The trick is to put them in the fridge hours before your ride though. Because they're thermal bottles, they'll keep things warmish longer. What's the current temp in Ballarat? Oh, I'm gonna have to Google that. I don't have it on screen anymore, do I? I may have the little the widget to show temp. Ballarat weather, here we go. There's your answer. 7.7, it's balmy. Not quite snowing though. It has snowed once this winter here. I missed it because I was inside. Victor from Brazil, thanks for watching. Brazil will also be in winter, but I'm guessing winter in Brazil would still be pretty nice. How is what possible being inside when it snows? It's not, you can't ski it. So it's not worth going outside. It's only good for the Insta. It's Insta snow. Where's the top of this hill? Damn. Oh, 7 degrees in summer and winter, yeah. Ballarat's weather has erg mode. It just stays shit all year round. No matter how hard you pedal, it's still kind of cold. Sam Morris asks, comparing a Kicker version 1 power into a Vector 3 power, what would I expect to be a higher or lower power and by how much? Okay, the true answer is NFI, completely NFI. If the Kicker 1 is using the newer firmware with the modelled power rather than strain gauge power and has done not too many Ks, has a good quality belt, bearings are okay, it should be ballpark okay. Secondly, Vector 3s, if they're the newer ones and not the older ones, in theory they should be okay. So they should be close. If they're not, something is wrong. I'm trying to find out what's wrong though. Godspeed. You'll lose sleep, it's a nightmare. You'll need a third power meter, a known good power meter to compare them to. Having 1 power meter, you know that number. If you've got 2 power meters, you're never sure. 3, you kind of know what's going on. If you've got more, even better. There's too many variables. That's why you've got to collect all the data and have a look. So the Kicker 1 with a factory spin down or an advanced spin down, as long as the belt's not stretched or dodgy, it should be fine. Vector 3s, yeah. I have a set that are okay. And by okay, I mean the ASIOM is on the bike all the time. They still work, but history. Hey, cowgirl. Savage has just joined as well. Oh, he's doing a workout, it's okay. Emily asked a very good question about spin downs on the Kicker and Zwift. Well, spin downs are software independent. Spin downs are all about the hardware. So no matter what you're using, any app, any software, anything, you're still required to do a spin down every now and then. In the past, the strain gauge version of the Kicker 1 required a spin down quite often, probably maybe every week, or if you move the unit, always after moving the unit, because the strain gauge was like on the Magine. If anyone remembers my Magine video, it's a little disc at the back that if you push, it straightens the gauge, it reports more power. That's how the original kicker used to report power or measure power. They switched that over to a modelled power mode based on the resistance applying and the energy going in, etc., which is just as accurate. The required spin down now, though, is probably every few months. But a lot of people remember saying that it was once a week or once every ride, or mistake the snap for the direct drive. I've pulled the kicker out of storage. It's been there for 2 months, not been ridden, and the numbers were fine straight away. That was a kicker 18? Yeah, kicker 18. So not as often as what people say. If you have 3 power meters, I think it's time to sell your Lambo. Ayo, not the case. Power meters are pretty cheap. Cycling, even though we complain about bikes being so expensive and trainers being so expensive. Hey, thanks Brad Woods, subscribed, Dancing Llama. $10,000 for a bike. Go to any car swap meet. Go to any yachting event. Go to anything else. And the last thing we need in cycling is people throwing shit at other cyclists. It's elitist as it is. Someone's got 3 power meters, give them a high five. Tell them stop being Scrooge and tell them to get 4. The hell just popped up behind me there? Oh, here's the bear. Ready? Ready, the bear's gonna go on its ass. So watch this. Quick. Ready? Boom! Nice one, bear. Alright. So I think we've seen every animal screw up tonight, have we? We've seen the T-Rex do his laps. We've seen the bear land on his ass. Kevin, thanks for subscribing. More Dancing Llamas. I use the Insta Power setup, not the 3-second average. No. Look, I use in Zwift 3-second average power display right here. In workout mode, there's no option for that. In workout mode, you get the raw power. That's why I put the average below on the Lama lab test, if you've seen those. It's a different hack. So what you're seeing on screen there is the 3-second average. On my head units outdoors or when I'm racing, 3-second average is what I work off primarily. But everything still records at 1 second, so it doesn't impact the data overall. $5 AM in Texas. Can't sleep watching YouTube. Is it still hot in Texas? It's gotta be, it's summer. Funk44, is $1,000 AU a good price for the ASIO Maduros? Yeah, absolutely. My first power meter cost me $2,600 and it was second hand. That was well over 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So to get, and that was just an SRM. So to get a dual-sided power meter that supports Bluetooth, it wasn't even Atlas or Bluetooth. So look, yeah, $1,000 for the ASIO is pretty good, I'd say. Patrick, regarding hooking up an external brake for an instant power cheat, have a look at my Magine video right at the end. Fast forward right to the end of my Magine. Just type GPLama Magine or GPLama Gravatt. It's exactly what I did to show that external strain gauges can be exploited pretty easily. Yep, Chinese turbo trainer, yep. Yeah, Zorg, Mr. Zorg 75. This with the kicker climb. How is the kicker climb going to respond to -1, 8, 6, 5, 0? Is it going to put me through the roof, just like launching me off the bike? We'll soon find out. I'll jump on this week. James asks, what do I think of the new model of my bike with ETAP? James, I haven't seen it, sorry. I can only imagine it's bloody expensive though. Can I explain trainer feel? Asks Eugene. It's a hard one. It's something we can't measure. So trainer feel. So I'll do my best and sit up while I do it. Outside. Think of riding a bike outside on flat ground with no wind whatsoever. So you're riding along, nice smooth road, kicking the gear over. Doesn't take much to pedal the bike. It's just tap, tap, tap on the pedals. It's easy. And then try and do that on a hard-packed gravel path. Everything else the same, everything. Your weight, the bike, wind resistance, everything's the same. But you ride the same way on a gravel path. It's a little harder to kick that pedal stroke over because there's more rolling resistance. It doesn't really feel like riding a bike on a smooth road. It feels like you're riding on sand. Anybody playing a long game, guess which trainer I'm talking about in regards to riding in sand. That's what it feels like if the trainer doesn't have a good road feel to it. It's the same with different gearing that you choose. If you're in a big gear, doing an erg mode, it feels like you're on top of the gear, on top of things. If you choose a small gear, it feels like you're riding on grass. It's a different experience. There's no easy way to measure that though. There's no, on the spec sheets, we see plus or minus power accuracy, we see flywheel weight, we see Bluetooth, we see Ant Plus, we see all the specs, but nothing tells you how a trainer feels. If you want the ultimate research project, go and find my review of the RevBox, REVBOX, which was almost a zero inertia trainer. Brutal. Alright, we're over an hour into this stream. If anybody's clicked through the link to see the Titans Growth course, we have seen it. And I've done my technical review early on, so if you want to rewind back. For now, I'm going to head to the desert section just to chill out. Lock up a few extra Ks. So trainer feel, is it subjective? Maybe a little bit, based on my expectations. But that's just flat riding, just riding along. Also how they respond to changes. If you have a trainer with, let's go to the Tacx Halcyon. The Tacx Neo Halcyon, which is the no-touch wheel-on trainer with the magnets. If you accelerate on that, you can just accelerate super quick and put your foot through the just accelerate unrealistically fast. So that doesn't feel like riding a bike. You've got to be really slow in winding up any changes. Any trainer that you can spin out on, stepper motor trainers, you can catch those out with sprints. So for example, if I'm to accelerate on a trainer that didn't have good road feel, you'd jump out of the saddle and just spin out straight away. And if you saw the R1 video, I was catching the R1 out, whereas I'm on the Neo now, slow pedaling, and I out of the saddle. And that's realistic. You see the cadence going up. Whereas on another trainer, if you could trick that, or get ahead of the stepper motor or ahead of the resistance change, you just spin out straight away. It's not a metric you can measure. You've got to jump on and ride yourself. So hopefully that kind of clears up what trainer feel is about. But if you can test ride a trainer before buying it, definitely do that. If you have a friend with a trainer, test ride theirs. If you can. No news on the Tacx Bike Smart. I'm keeping it across Tacx's Twitter account or the Facebook account where they just said they don't know. Well, they haven't released any information about that, so soon, maybe soon. Tacx Flux 2. I don't have a Tacx Flux 2, so I'm not sure with the updates for that. I had the Flux S. No Tacx Flux 2. Okay, Kivo, I have a Wahoo kicker, not totally set up yet. Do I need something else for cadence reading when riding on Zwift? The kicker full version, the kicker 18, kicker 17, etc. came with an external cadence sensor. The kicker core does not. So you will at this point in time need a second cadence sensor. At this point in time. If that changes, You'll know about it here first. Caleb Johnson, how you doing? Okay, back on the flats. This is much better just for chilling. Those over and unders were getting to me. Don Alfred Mendoza, how you doing? Just back picking up your first road bike, which is a hand-me-down. Good stuff. Any bike becomes a new bike as soon as you put a new chain on it. So if it needs a new chain, every bike's a new bike. Mark Stewart finds himself yo-yoing on the front of a bunch, front and back when group riding on Zwift. Is there a good approach to riding in groups to avoid this? Mark, good question. It takes a little bit to understand the riding dynamics virtually. Out on the road, you pretty much know when you're bouncing from back to the front of a bunch pretty easily. On Zwift, there's no feel to it. You can't feel yourself really slowing down. The bunch just sort of creeps up on you and passes you. But it's all about smooth power. So if you find whatever your power source is, if it's a power estimator, a moon, maybe a power cal, or something that's really jumpy, like at the moment mine's 80 watts. If that was going 80, 180, 80, 180, my avatar will be really jerky forward and back and accelerating back and forward. So first thing to check is make sure your power number is nice and smooth. And then just never spiking the power to overcompensate. If you're at the back, if you sprint, you go too far forward. Or if you let up too much, you go too far back. So any changes in momentum, do it smoothly. Easier said than done though, especially when it's a race. So let me know what power source. Are you on a particular trainer? What are you pairing as the power source? That might give me more info. Caleb asks how I got the tick next to my name. You ride Zwift an absolute shitload. That's pretty much it. So there we go, 26,000 Ks. 35 days, 26,000 Ks. And I guess it helps that I've put a couple of hundred videos out on how to ride Zwift. So I think Zwift just said, yep, I'm verified, they know who I am. So I get the little verified tick. It's the same with the Strava stuff. You're a verified athlete. It's more of an identity thing. If someone was to come on and use my name and then start abusing people, that way you can really tell if it's me or not. Because if someone did that on any of the platforms and mistook that for me, that has a pretty negative impact on on what I do. So if someone is on there trying to be me and they don't have the tick, it's not me. It's kind of handy. Any update on when Zwift, Mac, OS or iOS will support 4K? I don't ever think we'll see 4K iOS support in a long time. Mac OS, probably not. They're not really gaming machines. And I know I've got a MacBook Pro. It's got a half decent graphics card in it, but it's not a touch on anything on the PC with NVIDIA stuff. Pete M still using the old blue SC cadence sensor on an old V1 kicker. Pete, I don't think there's any firmware updates for the blue SC. It's probably maybe end of life. They're pretty old, the blue SCs. I'd look at getting a new cadence sensor if it's causing problems. And if you have an old kicker one still ticking over, you've saved yourself a lot of money on all the new trainers, so throw a couple of dollars their way with a new sensor. Thermal bottles are still chilled. Okay, we'll get to 50 Ks. We'll get it done. So keep the questions flying along. The chat makes the time go a lot quicker for me. It's a bit selfish. Here I am riding bikes and I'm just having a chat. If you're anywhere near your bike, jump on and ride too. Hang on, let's get some thumbs ups going on. Do I like the new courses on Zwift? I do, but earlier in this video we had a look at the response time with this trainer that I'm on now, the Neo. I wanted to check if the cadence estimation from the trainer, which estimates the cadence you're seeing up there from the power being applied to the trainer, and that worked well on the Neo, so that was cool. But the resistance change just, especially at speed, it changes a lot. And one thing I identified was the elevation profile you're seeing up there. You can't tell where these rollers are. The scale's all off. So, well, not all off, it's just too wide. Get that My Gym treadmill back and do some running again. Yeah, I think after my review of the Techno Gym trainer, my relationship with Techno Gym may be a little rocky, but that's their problem though. Again, like a few other trainer reviews or technology reviews that I do, it's not about me, it's about the technology. If the technology isn't up to scratch, that's the technology that's not up to scratch. It's not my reviews. So I wish Techno Gym all the best with their new technologies. Alright. So dust devils are what they are. Those little whirly winds, or willy willies we call them here in Australia, dust devils. Zwift should work on a route planner so you can set up your own course and store them in your own library. Yep. Just like you do with your own workouts. That'd be kind of cool. Just like a Strava route builder. Click on a few points. What would be cool is if you click on any points and do, I'd say, a turnaround at maybe 10 k's out the road, 10 k's back. And then you could spin up, here we go, I'm off on a rabbit hole. You could then spin up your own event, invite others along to it, and everyone gets to ride 10 k's out, 10 k's back. There's your 20k time trial. Again, easier said than done. But I think handing over event control to the community will be a massive step up if they ever get to that. That way Zwift steps out of the picture and people just use the platform themselves for whatever they want to do. Coaches, you could spin up your own coaching session, use Zwift as the platform, where everyone has to be a subscriber, obviously. Let's say we did a Coach Lama ride every Thursday night. It was of a certain length or certain intervals. At the moment that requires to be managed with humans, which means it doesn't scale too well. Stuart's just had a knock at the door. Possibly, or the post he just delivered, your smart trainer. Excellent, the Diretto. Tips for the Diretto. Put a cassette on. Yeah, that's about it really. If you want to get into the nitty gritty of it, it'll be all in the video of the Diretto. After about 10 minutes, maybe half an hour, maybe your first ride, disconnect everything from Zwift, open up the My eTraining app, and do a calibration spin down with the Diretto app or with the My eTraining app on your Diretto. It's tucked away, but the elite trainer needs the calibration done within their own app. And just once seems to be just perfect. Once seems to nail it. Erg mode efforts on the Diretto. Keep it in the small ring on the front. Usually puts the flywheel in the right zone to hold you in between 150 watts to 450 watts easily. Matty got knocked off his bike by a car yesterday. A few injuries, nothing serious. Any advice on getting back riding? First of all, how's the bike? That's the most important part. Humans can heal. Bikes need new parts. Yeah, it's a tough one. But getting hit by a car is not the norm. It's an exception to the rule. So hopefully it doesn't happen every day to you. I just get the bike up and running, make sure the bike is good. Bike is in half and completely wrecked. I was going to say excellent, but only excellent because of what I'm going to say next. If it was insured, great. If someone's going to cover it, fantastic. If not, don't worry about it. It's only a bike. The bike doesn't give a shit how you feel. So don't shed any tears over equipment. Chuck it out if it's busted, if it's not insured. Just throw it, go buy another one, and then enjoy the new bike. Easy as that. I procrastinated way too long buying this new bike with Di2. Like, I just couldn't justify it. Just trying to save myself money by not buying a new bike. 3 years later, I finally bought a new bike. Yeah, it's awesome. Heaps of fun. Gives me a reason to jump on and go riding. So get yourself sorted, patched up, and if the bike's shagged, chuck it away and go get the bike you've always wanted. And a power meter. Hey, it could be a good thing if your power meter wasn't reading right. Could have been an omen. The idea of an accident puts me off buying Karma, and I've got 2 aluminium. Well, aluminium still snaps in half. Nothing is perfect. People who are buying aluminium bikes for indoor trainers, if that's what you want to do, fine, but it doesn't make any difference. I've tried my best to snap carbon frames indoors. And if they did snap indoors, it'd be brilliant. The camera would be on, I'd upload it to YouTube. People would see a bike snap in half. Blood go everywhere. It'd be great. It doesn't happen. So even outdoors, doesn't matter what bike you ride. They're just tools. Get a unicycle. Alright, going to 50Ks. If you have any questions, throw them in. I've been going too long. These streams don't do too well for views and votes and everything, so I don't want to annoy everyone by mixing up my tech content by just me babbling along, but I do enjoy the questions. Any tips on descending? Send it. Just send it. Best way to learn how to descend, and the way I learned how to descend, follow a friend who knows the roads really well. Follow a friend who's a lot better at descending, and try and keep up. Don't try and follow a bunch who doesn't know how to descend. Don't follow someone who can't descend. If you follow someone, you will just learn straight away what lines to take and what speeds you can go through corners at. And if you really want to know how fast you can go around a corner, crash. And then go a little bit slower next time. That's worked for me quite a few times. I have the scars to prove it. And the videos to prove it. You have a look at GPLama Silver Band Falls. Let me see if that's still live. GPLama Silver Band, there we go. That's all you need to search for in YouTube. SILVERBAND, Silver Band. You'll see me do a good descent there, 10 minutes 51, and I crash. Because you see it too, you can see me pick the wrong line, and then just use words that I can't say now on stream. Then I give up and keep writing. So yeah, actually there's 2 videos on Silver Band Fall, so I've gone back and done it again. But just learn from others, that's the best way. And have confidence in your equipment. And good brakes. Okay, Eugene, thank you. I got the question wrong. I meant, once logged into Zwift, in the settings, being able to change and adjust the trainer difficulty. I don't get that either. Long. Okay, so what Eugene's asking about is this setting here. Trainer difficulty. Scale the feel of gradient changes, max or off. Okay, so what it does in game, by default, it's on 50% here. Actually, you probably can't even see the mouse. It's there by default. I've got it up to max. Now what that does is the number you're seeing up on the screen there, which conveniently is 0 at the moment, -1, and -0 are even different again. But if you're seeing me on a 10% gradient and that trainer difficulty is on halfway, that means the gradient that I'll be feeling, the simulation I'll be feeling here physically, is only 5%, because that's been scaled back from 10 to 5. If it's on max, then whatever's being simulated in a positive number up above there on the gradient is exactly what it's trying to feel like. Trying, because that number's based on your weight. Most of the time it's around 75 kilos and a 10 kilo bike. That's changed recently though. They're now doing it more dynamically and more real as trainers progress in tech. But so that's what the trainer difficulty is. So a 10% gradient will feel like a 5% gradient. Now, here's the part where a lot of people screw up, big time. You'd think that, and there's two ways of thinking about this, but let's go the right way first before thinking about the wrong way. The right way is, if, let's just say we're riding together, my trainer's on max 10, your trainer's on 50%, and you're doing 50, like at 5%. So we're both, let's say we're the same height, weight, FTP, everything. But we're both getting that different ride experience because we've changed our trainer difficulty, or you've changed yours or I've changed mine, either way. Does that mean you go faster on Zwift? The answer is no, you don't. Because that trainer slider setting is only the physical feeling of the trainer. For you to move forward, and for me to move forward if we're riding together, we need to be doing the same watts per kilo. So that slider has no impact at all on your in-game speed. If it did, everyone would put it to 0 and win races. That's not the case. Or those at max would never win a race, and they do. So that slider has no impact on your in-game speed. You still need to do the same power to get from X to Y. So there's no change there. And the second trip up is that what it does change is how you produce those watts. So for me, if I've been training at 5% gradients and I'm really efficient riding up 5% gradients, and I'm now riding up 10% gradients, I'm going to have to find the right gear. I may have to slow down. It's not going to be as efficient for me as 5%. But that's irrelevant. That's subjective. So that slider means the physical feel of your trainer indoors has 0 impact on your in-game speed. And there's been many a debate over what's right or what's wrong with that. I've done a small test up a slight hill, Watopia wall, showing that 350 watts, I think, at any slider setting equals exactly the same time up the hill. 350 watts from start to finish, no matter what slider setting is, gives you the same time. How I produce those watts is different though. Flat road is one thing, simulating a hill is another. And that's where a lot of people start arguing about, well, it's easier to produce at 0%, blah, blah, blah. But if you're always training at 10%, it's going to be easier at 10%. Okay, how can I get 160 XP every limit? I can't wait for that to go away. It's a legacy thing, because everyone always asks about that. So I've ridden Zwift a shit ton, and I had a 500,000 points. Yeah, 500,000 points. We're back on the course. When level 50 came out. Now, when level 50 came out, they pulled everyone back to 125,000 points, but then gave everyone the opportunity to level up faster to level 50. And I selected yes on that. So, speaking of bottom brackets a while back. So what happens was, until I get to level 50, I'm on an accelerated path. So every XP point I get is times 8. So if you have a look in menu here, I'm still level 46 on the screen there. So I'm almost at level 50. When I hit level 50, I'm back to 500,000 points, where I originally was before they docked everyone. And we're good to go. Alrighty, I'm well over 50 Ks, but I'm gonna have to get to 52 because I can't stop with only 800 meters to go. Alright, any other questions? Fire away. I'm gonna suffer up this small hill and then call it a night. Level 50 is the end, yeah. Once level 50 is down, I gotta go back to Coach Troy. Play some DVDs. Spinorama. Okay, Patrick, uncontrollable wobbles at 40 miles per hour downhill. Check tyres, brakes, wheels. Check everything. Maybe try another bike if you can. Some people on some bikes just aren't compatible. People used to say the old TCRs had the death wobbles, but I never had that. Scott's got the RTL 510, yes. It is the Vario radar. It's a game changer. Just hands down game changer. Some people want to argue that, but there's no arguing about it. To know there's oncoming traffic before you can hear them, or when your mind is wandering elsewhere, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yes, Lane is over at in Italy at the moment. Getting in some good climbs. Now I'm about to hit 52 k's, but if I spin around, I get 53. So we're going to exploit this. I'm at the top of the hill here. Now I'll get a fast cool down. Alright, so we missed out on the dinosaurs this time. Alright. Apologies for such a long stream, but I do appreciate people tuning in, throwing the questions in. I do like live streams because you can't script them, you can't prepare for a live stream. You can't prepare for any of the questions are asked either. Including Dave Johnson's question, are hybrid bikes an option for smart trainers? Yeah, for sure. Almost any bikes will go on a smart trainer. If you do have any questions about that, drop into your local bike store, see what they sell. I had a really interesting one trying to get my bike on a certain trainer yesterday that you might see later in the week. There's always a solution. But a hybrid should be no different. Patrick asks, can I get the same effect climbing on Zwift as compared to outside? Patrick, you'll get close. You'll get close. What you need to do is angle the bike a little bit, not too much, just a little bit, and look at the cadence and power numbers you want to be doing outside and train those zones inside. The closer you can make it inside to outside, the closer it's going to be for your training. Like you wouldn't jump on and train at 100 RPM at 250 watts if you wanted to go out and climb a hill at 70 RPM at the same watts. It's a different thing. How you produce those watts is different. Even though watts are watts, how you produce them is different. So you need to match that indoors to out and you'll do well. I've done that for years with time trials. Match the gearing, match the effort, match the duration, go outside and just tear it apart. But you've got to mix it up with outside riding as well. If you're hitting crosswinds and going over bumps and everything, you have to be ready for that. Something we don't get indoors. What's my opinion on the Tacx Vortex? That's a good question. My opinion on the Tacx Vortex is up over on YouTube. I had to check because there's a Vortex, there's the Flow, there's the Bashudo, there's quite a few. Yep, did that one. My review of the Tacx Vortex Smart Trainer is here on YouTube. Search just for GPLama Vortex and you'll see my 17-minute video which has 104,000 views. First released in 2014, one of the most popular interactive smart trainers. There we go. Yeah, give that video a watch. I can't remember it being horrible. So, yeah. Do I think that the Di2 group set is much better than mechanical? Absolutely. A million times better. I've always raced with mechanical, so it's not performance enhancing. My TT bike is still mechanical 10 speed. That's just fine. But where Di2 comes into its own is every change, bang, bang, well, except that one. Every change is crisp and correct. Mechanical, you get cable stretch, you get cables that gum up, you get, you know, the hydro brakes, and mechanical is just, sorry, and Di2 stuff. Just works. Sprint me you want, or you won't. Sprint me you won't. It's the first time joining one of these live streams. I've stayed away from Zwift because I believe too many people are putting in lower weights in, or am I just not good enough? If you're keeping clear because of what other people are doing, you're doing it wrong. Who gives a shit what everyone else does? Really, it's not. If someone entering a weight in a keyboard somewhere else in the world is impacting you jumping on and riding a bike, that's just reset that. Just reset that. Just jump on and ride. You don't have to race. Jump on and ride. Use it for the tool that you want to use it for. Tonight here, look, 54 k's in, nearly 55 k's in. I haven't raced anyone. I just went for a ride that I wouldn't have got in otherwise. So don't let other people negatively influence what you're up to. Jump on. There's a trial period. And if Zwift isn't for you, jump on something else. Or if indoors isn't for you, just get out and ride your bike. It's all good. Swooped by 3 magpies this week. What do I think about wearing a TT helmet to keep them away from your ears? Wear a, what do you call it? Just a headband will probably do. Something like, you know, one that actually wraps around your head. Keep your ears in. Do a bit of Tupac Shakur. Keep one of those around your head and keep your ears in. It's cold enough here at the moment to wear a hat. Just a skull cap outdoors, so that keeps my ears in. Yeah, bloody magpies. Fuck. Ended up going to Sufferfest. There we go. Awesome. Have you thought about doing their knighthood? That's 10 of their videos in a row. Wear a neck sock, but I'm scared. Hey Scott, I got some great footage of magpies swooping me last year. I put it up on Shutterstock. Again, if you search Shutterstock GPLama, you'll see some magpie photos, and I've made $17 selling my magpie photos. So I'm hoping this year the magpies are still at the same road. I'll get the GoPro Hero Black, which takes brilliant footage, and I'll get out there as the magpies are just pummeling me in the head. And instead of being scared, I'll be like, another dollar, another dollar, another dollar. I'm gonna try and exploit those buggers. But yeah, so Shutterstock GPLama, and you'll see the photos. Hang on, I need to put in a web browser to my streams. Shutterstock GPLama. Yeah, there we go. GPLama's photographer. Oh god, I wish I had a live stream. Just flip to another window. They are brilliantly blue skies and the magpies just. Oh yeah, sorry Liam. Thanks Vaughn for asking. I saw that flip glass before. Okay, I'll give up soon. Enjoying the chats. Makes things easy ticking along. You're the Queensland Stephen Lane. I think I've seen you on Facebook commenting on Stephen Lane stuff. I do believe you look like a sprinter too. That's a compliment. There'll be 2 Stephen Lanes on the list. That's right, Slane and I did the night at the same day at the Victorian Institute of Sport that day. God, that was a long day. We did a sweat test as one of the videos, so that was no fans. And then I think the second last video, Slane wanted to race me so you could get most Ks. Oh, that was a long day. That was a long day. Baby Lama going to be a pro bike rider? No way. There's no money in cycling. Baby Lama should be a golfer or a tennis player. Or an expert in cryptocurrency. Okay, we've got to think long term here. Alright, we'll go back to the start where we came from. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be announcing that I'm moving to Mixer for most of my live streams, like Ninja has this week, if anybody's up in that news. Interesting move. So, the most famous live stream gamer signed an exclusive deal with Mixer, which is now Microsoft, going away from the platform that made him famous in the first place. Very interesting. That would have been worth a shit ton of money. A lot of money. Alright. 58 and we're done. Promise. Done. 58, we're done. So get your questions in quick. I gotta be up before 9. That was a good fat burner one though. That's my graph look. Yeah, that wasn't too hard at all. Von's throwing on the challenge 58Ks. Sure. I have to because I'm becoming one with this seat and that's not what I'm after. $1,400 last sprint. Nope. Now, if it was 5 minutes ago, I could have done it. But I'm not going to do a 1,000-watt sprint and then stop a few seconds later. 60 because don't try me. Nah. We're done at 58. I'll get my plus 160 XP, which will confuse people, including myself. I'm nearly 40, level 47. It'll be over soon. I'll be back to normal XP. There we go, 160. We're done. No more pedaling. Alrighty. Thanks for everyone for tuning in for this one. As always, hit that subscribe button to find out what's new, and I'll keep saying it, Eurobike is very, very soon. So lots of stuff coming out for Eurobike. If you hit that subscribe, you'll see things come out. You can hit the bell too. I'm not a big fan of the bell because you'll get alert notifications every time I upload a video. But if you want to be across everything, that's how to do it. So hit subscribe, hit like on that one, and yeah, keep your questions and comments coming through on any video you watch. This one, any of the other videos, even the Vortex video. I still have most of those trainers here because they're still in service life cycle, I guess, for firmware updates and things. I was on the Hammer and the H2 yesterday looking at the firmware on that. So I hope to have the video out about that in a couple of days. If they can get a few things sorted with the app, which was crashing. I don't really want to put a video out saying, here, update everything and here's how to do it, and the app's just bouncing around. So keep an eye on everything here, all things tech, and any ideas you have for content you want me to have a look at, I'm always across it. Alright, thanks for watching, and we shall see you soon. I've got to get working on my next video. Alright, see you later.